Good evening and welcome. Tonight, a tense exchange on Capitol Hill is raising fresh questions about government surveillance, prosecutorial independence, and whether the Department of Justice is operating at arm's length from the White House or moving in lockstep with it.
Said his predecessors did fully investigate. The second and third 1023 forms relate to the first in that they reference potential Biden family criminal conduct. Senator Johnson and I made these two public, and we simply want to know whether the government has investigated what it found, and if not, why not? Senator Ronald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, FISA Section 702 will expire in 6 months. In response to my questions for the record, at your confirmation hearing, you said you did not have experience with FISA, but if confirmed, you would consult with experts at DOJ. Now, you've had that opportunity. Do you support adding additional safeguards for searching Americans' communications in the 702 database?
Senator, Section 702 is a vital source of foreign intelligence and instrumental in keeping Americans safe. We also take individuals' rights of Americans, their individual rights of all Americans, very seriously. And many statutory reforms to FISA have incorporate safeguards. They have to incorporate safeguards to protect our civil liberties. The Department of Justice looks forward to working with you to discuss anything regarding 702.
Appreciate that.
I believe my staff, and Senator, I also want to thank you for this hearing. Your staff met with my staff, and I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. We're going to be working on 702, so I appreciate the openness to further amending 702. At your confirmation hearing, you assured me that it is the Department of Justice's decision to determine what cases will be prosecuted. Last month, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was forced out. President Trump then posted the message behind me asking about prosecuting James Comey. You then appointed a new U.S. attorney who within days secured an indictment against James Comey. That social media post behind me saying, "What about Comey?" was directed to Pam. Are you the Pam that the president was referring to?
I'm sure I was.
So it's very clear to me that when the president posts something like that, that he considers the DOJ to be his law firm and you his lawyer. And in fact, very shortly after the post to you, Comey gets indicted. Last year, President Trump's new now border czar, Tom Homan, was videotaped taking a bag with $50,000 in cash from undercover FBI agents after suggesting he could help with government contracts. Sounds like a bribe. 2 weeks ago, DOJ officials reportedly shut down the bribery investigation into Mr. Homan. Ms. Bondi, did you approve closing the Homan investigation, bribery investigation?
Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, the Department of Justice and the FBI conducted a thorough review, and they found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing. You were also on video outside the White House protesting with a group called CASA, where Antifa members were. Does that mean you're a member of Antifa?
You know, I simply asked the question as to whether or not you approve the shutting down of the investigation, Mr. Homan. I have to assume that you did because the FBI reports to you. But the American people would look at the situation where this person is taking a $50,000 in cash, no less, and you testified today that a thorough investigation was done. Now, I have to assume, I conclude, that since no wrongdoing was determined, that in answer to Senator Whitehouse's question, he kept the money. he kept the money, and I hope that he put that on his tax returns as income. Next question. Over 1,200 rioters were convicted of charges related to January 6th. President Trump has since pardoned nearly all of them. As if that weren't enough, last month there were reports that a lawyer for the January 6th rioters met with senior DOJ officials about setting up a compensation fund like the one that Congress set up after 9/11 to compensate these rioters. Ms. Bondi, is anyone at DOJ considering setting up a compensation fund for January 6th rioters? Yes or no?
Senator, I have had no meetings or discussions about a fund.
So would you support such a fund? Would you okay such a fund?
Senator, you can send me the information on the fund, and I'd be happy to look at it.
No, but do you think that's a good idea to, this is what I'm getting at. Because just to actually set up a fund and to have people talking with your senior people at DOJ, political people, about creating a fund, and you won't let us know what you think about that, that's pretty unbelievable. On January 30th of this year, the Trump DOJ's Antitrust Division sued to block the merger of two tech companies. Then, well-connected lobbyists met with your political deputies who overruled the career staff and approved the merger. So there's a settlement on that. And separately, DOJ sued Ticketmaster last year for monopolizing concert tickets and forcing consumers to pay outrageous fees. Ticketmaster has hired the exact same lobbyists who met with senior DOJ political people regarding the merger of the two tech companies. So my question is, Ms. Bondi, have lobbyists met with your political deputies about the Ticketmaster case?
Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, I am not going to discuss anything that is ongoing. Gail Slater runs the antitrust
I would
office,
say
and
that
Gail Slater, if I can finish, Gail Slater is doing an incredible job running my antitrust unit.
It's highly likely, Ms. Bondi, that the same lobbyists who met with your people basically got rid of the antitrust case.
Senator, I don't think a lot of people
I
like
would
that
say
you were
that
out
they're probably
protesting with
meeting you
Antifa.
right now. Next question. You have fired dozens of career prosecutors because they worked on cases involving President Trump or January 6th rioters. For example, one career federal prosecutor who secured over 100 convictions in Florida. He also spent time in D.C. prosecuting January 6 cases. He received an outstanding review only 2 days before you signed a memo firing him. The memo cited no reason for his firing. Are you firing career prosecutors solely because they worked on cases like January 6th that the president doesn't like?
Senator Hirono, I am not going
Yes
to talk
or no?
about personnel matters with you.
Well, we all know that hundreds of career prosecutors have left the DOJ, and literally hundreds, we're told. And
Yeah,
you know,
Senator,
you've
are you
lost. The
familiar with the one
DOJ
that threw a
has
sandwich
lost-
at an ICE officer? Are you a Homeland Security officer?
is the
Are you familiar
reason-
with the one who went out on her lunch break and was
Ms. Bondi,
making obscene gestures?
would you say that DOJ losing these career prosecutors and the thousands of hours of experience they have prosecuting criminals, that is not a reassuring situation?
Senator, many employees took the fork in the road and resigned. DOJ is hiring committed prosecutors who will actually come into the office and work, and not work remotely, and
think we all
prosecute
know
violent
that-
criminals around the country and terrorists. And
When
I
you-
am very proud
when you
of the
fire-
work all of our prosecutors
I'm running
are
out of
doing.
time, so I think you should stop with your continuous interruptions, in my opinion. Mr. Chairman, I just want to close by saying that what was once the Department of Justice has become the Department of Revenge and Corruption. Rather than pursuing cases without fear or favor, this DOJ seeks to favor the president's friends and instill fear in his alleged enemies. If you're a friend of the president, this corrupt DOJ will bend over backwards to help you, just like it dropped the bribery investigation of Tom Homan, like it's considering paying money to January 6 rioters, and like it has put antitrust enforcement decisions in the hands of well-connected lobbyists. But if you're on the wrong side of this president, you will face the wrath of DOJ, no matter what the facts, law, or justice support. James Comey is indicted days after the president's social media directive. Experienced career prosecutors are fired just because they were assigned to work on January 6 cases. Blue states are sued to get highly sensitive private voter data, whereas red states are left alone. The double standard is clear, and the American people are waking up to the corruption and favoritism and the lawlessness at the DOJ. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May I respond, Chairman?
Yes.
May I respond?
Yes, you may respond. Then Senator Kennedy.
Thank you. The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirono, crystal clear, because you didn't complain for 4 years when President Trump was being targeted by Jack Smith, by the last Justice Department. But the American people spoke loud and clear when they overwhelmingly elected him. The two-tier system of justice is over.
Senator Kennedy. Me? Yes.
If you value clear, fact-based breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any of our in-depth coverage. The hearing centered on Attorney General Pam Bondi and quickly moved beyond routine oversight into deeply sensitive territory. Lawmakers first revisited the FBI's FD 1023 forms, confidential documents used to record information from human sources. These particular forms reference alleged Biden family criminal conduct. Senators emphasized that they did not release the documents to make accusations, but to ask a narrower and more consequential question. Were these claims fully investigated? And if not, why? This matters because the integrity of the justice system does not rest on who is accused, but on whether the same standards are applied to everyone. When allegations involve powerful political families, transparency about the investigative process becomes even more critical. Subscribe now if you want continued coverage that explains not just the politics, but the systems behind them. The conversation then pivoted to something even broader in impact: FISA Section 702. This authority allows the government to collect foreign intelligence by targeting non-Americans overseas, but it also sweeps in communications involving Americans, including emails, phone calls, and text messages. Section 702 is set to expire in 6 months, which means Congress must decide whether to reauthorize it, reform it, or let it lapse. At her confirmation hearing, Bondi admitted she had no direct experience with FISA. She promised to consult experts if confirmed, and now senators are asking what she has learned. Specifically, do Americans need stronger safeguards when their communications are searched in the 702 database? Bondi's response was carefully worded. She emphasized that Section 702 is vital to national security and has helped prevent threats to the United States. At the same time, she acknowledged that civil liberties matter and that reforms have already been made to limit abuse. Notably, she left the door open to further changes, signaling that negotiations with Congress are likely ahead. If you want clear explanations of complex national security laws like this, hit subscribe and stay with us. But the most explosive moment of the hearing came when the focus shifted from surveillance to prosecution. A senator reminded Bondi that she had previously assured lawmakers that the Department of Justice decides which cases to bring, not the president. That principle is foundational to the rule of law. Prosecutors are supposed to follow evidence, not political signals. Then came the timeline. The U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was forced out. Shortly after, President Trump posted a message online asking, "What about Comey?" The post was widely interpreted as a call for action. Days later, Bondi appointed a new U.S. attorney, and almost immediately, an indictment was secured against former FBI Director James Comey. The senator asked a pointed question. When the president posted that message, was he speaking to Pam Bondi? Bondi replied, "I'm sure I was." That answer is why this moment matters. Critics argue it suggests the president views the Department of Justice as his personal law firm and the Attorney General as his lawyer, rather than the nation's top law enforcement officer. Supporters counter that timing alone does not prove political interference, and that indictments must still be approved through legal channels. This is the tension at the heart of the hearing, not just whether laws are being enforced, but whether Americans can trust that justice is blind to politics. These questions will not be settled in a single hearing, but they will shape debates over DOJ independence, surveillance powers, and executive authority in the months ahead. If you want thoughtful, plain language analysis that helps you understand what these moments really mean, not just the headlines, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will continue to follow this story closely and break it down so you can stay informed.